overall balance between competitive and casual play. As a result, his Watson and other big creators like him have claimed that they will not be as active in this game going forward in 2025, which I shouldn't have to explain to you is not good. When it comes to the bad business practices, there are a lot, but two major examples that I can think of in recent memory. Over a year ago, there was a mass exodus of orgs from the competitive scene, and a lot of that had to do with EA and the organizations themselves failing to reach an agreement on revenue share. EA has long been criticized for not doing enough to actually support the orgs. Example, providing them with opportunities to actually make money. Luckily though, this exact thing was going to happen in Apex Legends. Last year, it was rumored that a revenue sharing program was in the works where select orgs would make money off of team skins. However, according to multiple sources, EA denied the 50-50 revenue split teams were asking for, and instead would only offer a one-time flat licensing fee of $60,000. Counter negotiations went nowhere, and eventually EA scrapped the entire idea completely. Additionally, through 2024, there were countless complaints about the lackluster content being added to Apex. Aside from the battle passes and updates themselves just not really being all that worthwhile, community members have claimed that EA has actively been suppressing user-generated content. As I'm sure some of you may know, I am quite passionate about this topic, and I've talked a lot about the decline of this type of content in Counter-Strike, but there is a major difference here between these two games. In CS2, things are currently just broken for creators since the game is not yet stable. But in Apex, EA actively sends out cease and desist to people who use the modded version of this game, who are really only trying to, as his Watson put it, create something bigger in the game.
If you're an EA creator and you even talk about R5 Apex, you will be kicked out of the program. I tried hosting a $1,000 tournament in this modded version of the game, and I was handed a cease and desist by an EA lawyer in less than a week.
EA seemed to try and address the unpopular content drops and unnecessary battle pass grinds by splitting seasons up into two parts, each with their own shorter battle passes. The issue with this is that they also announced that the battle passes could only be purchased with real-life money, rather than the Apex coins you may have been obtaining and saving up through playing previous battle passes. A rat move by EA to try and squeeze a little bit more money out of this fanbase, one that they obviously had to walk back, but it still left a sour taste in the community's mouth. To both casual and hardcore players, there's also been another persistent issue with Apex: the devs' inability to decide what experience they want this game to provide. Skill-based matchmaking is a hot-button issue for pretty much all competitive games, and people have their own opinions on whether or not it's good or bad. The Apex fanbase has generally seemed to be against skill-based matchmaking, but an even bigger problem for them is engagement-optimized matchmaking. EOMM is actually in a lot of games, whether it's hidden or not. You know how after you take a break from playing a game, you hop back in and suddenly feel like a smurf, only to get your shit rocked after a few matches? Companies use this to get people to play longer. It's one thing to have a hard line where you're always put into lobbies with people who have the exact same skill level as you. It's another to essentially trick people and having a false sense of skill only to turn it on them later. His Watson laments about this very issue in his video, so I suggest you check it out if you haven't already, because it is truly interesting to hear from a player with that level of skill who has largely dedicated their life and brand to playing this game. But essentially, Apex doesn't know what it wants to be. Some seasons will have new casual game modes with new content, and others will remove those options in favor for sweaty ranked modes. There's never a proper balance. I think it's always held Apex back from being truly great, but now things are at an all-time low because the devs are doing neither. Apex doesn't feel competitive for the top players, and there's no worthwhile content to be seen for the casual audience.
It's in the worst state it's ever been. We're currently in the part of the cycle where the game is just absolutely not competitive in the slightest. Pro teams are dropping 40 kill games consistently, and everyone is